The COVID-19 pandemic has led to a dramatic loss of human life worldwide and presents an unprecedented challenge to public health, food systems, and the world of work. The economic and social disruption caused by the pandemic is devastating. Tens of millions of people are at risk of falling into extreme poverty, while the number of undernourished people, currently estimated at nearly 690 million, could increase by up to 132 million by the end of the year. Millions of enterprises face an existential threat. Nearly half of the world's 3.3 billion global workforce are at risk of losing their livelihoods. Informal economy workers are particularly vulnerable because the majority lack social protection and access to quality healthcare and have lost access to productive assets. Without the means to earn an income during lockdowns, many are unable to feed themselves and their families. For most, no income means no food, or, at best, less food and less nutritious food. Countries dealing with existing humanitarian crises or emergencies are particularly exposed to the effects of COVID-19. Responding swiftly to the pandemic, while ensuring that humanitarian and recovery assistance reaches those most in need, is critical. By January 2021, 69 vaccine candidates were in clinical research, including 43 in Phase I/II trials and 26 in Phase II/III trials. In Phase III trials, several COVID-19 vaccines demonstrated efficacy as high as 95% in preventing symptomatic COVID-19 infections. As of January 2021, 9 vaccines have been authorized by at least one national regulatory authority for public use, 2 RNA vaccines, 3 conventional inactivated vaccines, 2 viral vector vaccines, and 1 peptide vaccine. The Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine manufacturer, Pfizer, Inc., and BioNTech type of vaccine, mRNA. On December 11, 2020, the U.S. Food and Drug Administration issued the first emergency use authorization, EUA, for a vaccine for the prevention of coronavirus disease 2019, COVID-19, caused by severe acute respiratory syndrome coronavirus 2, SARS-CoV-2, in individuals 16 years of age and older. The emergency use authorization allows the Pfizer-BioNTech COVID-19 vaccine to be distributed in the U.S. name, Pfizer-BioNTech COVID-19 vaccine authorized use for the prevention of 2019 coronavirus disease, COVID-19, for individuals 16 years of age and older. Common side effects. The most commonly reported side effects, which typically lasted several days, were pain at the injection site, tiredness, headache, muscle pain, chills, joint pain, and fever. Of note, more people experienced these side effects after the second dose than after the first dose, so it is important for vaccination providers and recipients to expect that there may be some side effects after either dose, but even more so after the second dose. Moderna COVID-19 vaccine. On December 18, 2020, the U.S. Food and Drug Administration issued an emergency use authorization, EUA, for the second vaccine for the prevention of coronavirus disease 2019, COVID-19, caused by severe acute respiratory syndrome coronavirus 2, SARS-CoV-2. The emergency use authorization allows the Moderna COVID-19 vaccine to be distributed in the U.S. for use in individuals 18 years of age and older. Name Moderna COVID-19 vaccine manufacturer. Moderna TX, Incorporated authorized use for the prevention of 2019 coronavirus disease, COVID-19, for individuals 18 years of age and older. Common side effects. The most commonly reported side effects, which typically lasted several days, were pain at the injection site, tiredness, headache, muscle pain, chills, joint pain, swollen lymph nodes in the same arm as the injection, nausea and vomiting, and fever. Of note, more people experienced these side effects after the second dose than after the first dose, so it is important for vaccination providers and recipients to expect that there may be some side effects after either dose, but even more so after the second dose. Oxford-AstraZeneca vaccine. The first dose of the Oxford-AstraZeneca coronavirus vaccine has been given in the UK. Dialysis patient Brian Pinker, 82, became the first person to receive the jab. The government has ordered 100 million doses of the vaccine, following the rollout of the Pfizer vaccine, which was the first to be approved. The Oxford vaccine, how does it work? It is made from a weakened version of a common cold virus, known as an adenovirus, from chimpanzees. It has been modified to look more like coronavirus, although it can't cause illness. When the vaccine is injected into a patient, it prompts the immune system to start making antibodies and primes it to attack any coronavirus infection. Research has shown it is highly effective. Unlike Pfizer's jab, which has to be kept at an extremely cold temperature, 70 C, the Oxford vaccine can be stored in a normal fridge. This makes it much easier to distribute. The vaccine was approved for use by the MHRA on December 30 and the first doses were given 5 days later. Sputnik V is the world's first registered vaccine based on a well-studied human adenoviral vector-based platform. It currently ranks among top 10 candidate vaccines approaching the end of clinical trials and the start of mass production on the World Health Organization's WHO list. Clinical trials of Sputnik V have been announced in the UAE, India, Venezuela, and Belarus. The Sputnik V vaccine's efficacy is confirmed at 91.4% based on data analysis of the final control point of clinical trials. The Sputnik V vaccine efficacy against severe cases of coronavirus is 100%. RDIF jointly with partners and manufacturers is ramping up the production of Sputnik V. The cost of one dose of the vaccine for international markets will be less than $10. Sputnik V is a 2-dose vaccine. The lyophilized, dry, form of the vaccine can be stored at a temperature of +2 to +8 degrees Celsius. The vaccine is named after the first Soviet space satellite. The launch of Sputnik 1 in 1957 reinvigorated space research around the world, creating a so-called Sputnik moment for the global community. APVAC Corona months after the country claimed to have developed world's first coronavirus vaccine Sputnik V, reports suggested that the immunological efficacy of the Russia-developed coronavirus vaccine APVAC Corona is 100%. The report was carried by Sputnik News, which quoted the Federal Service for Surveillance on Consumer Rights Protection and Human Well-being as saying, as per updates, the APVAC Corona is a coronavirus vaccine which has been developed by Vector State Research Center of Virology and Biotechnology in Russia. The mass trials of APVAC Corona has started in Russia in November and the peptide-based vaccine is the second to be licensed for use in Russia. Russia earlier had said that Sputnik V is 92% effective at protecting people from COVID-19 according to interim results. Bharat Biotech India has formally approved the emergency use of 2 coronavirus vaccines as it prepares for one of the world's biggest inoculation drives. The Drugs Regulatory Authority gave the green light to the jabs developed by AstraZeneca with Oxford University and by local firm Bharat Biotech. The Indian company Bharat Biotech partnered with the National Institute of Virology and the Indian Council of Medical Research to develop an inactivated coronavirus vaccine called Covaxin. India authorized the vaccine for emergency use on January 3, despite a lack of published Phase 3 data showing the vaccine is safe and effective. A vaccine made from coronaviruses, Covaxin works by teaching the immune system to make antibodies against the SARS-CoV-2 coronavirus. The antibodies attach to viral proteins, such as the so-called spike proteins that stud its surface.